We're going through a 4-step process with thought pattern dissolve. And it's really a program. It's a simple program, a simple algorithm with 4 steps. We can write these steps on an index card. We can write them on the palm of our hands. We can have a draft email that we pull up that has these 4 steps on them. If you have a watch or a smartphone, you can make it pop up with these 4 simple steps. This is our program that we're going to run to start cleaning out these thoughts as they arise. And we're going to be looking forward with the greatest anticipation and enthusiasm for these thoughts that have been disturbing us for so long to arise again. Because when they arise, we have a tool in our arsenal. We have some ammo, and we're going to pull that out. We're going to tear these thoughts to shreds. We're going to work through them. It will take time. We're going to have to do this plenty of times, but we will be unwinding these thoughts. And if you do it consistently, it will take a lot less time than you might think, and it will certainly take a lot less time than if you didn't have an effective process and just kept letting the thoughts overpower you, because then it'll just keep going and perpetuating forever. But now we have a process which for me has worked incredibly effectively, which components of this process in other people's systems that are different have also worked on their own or in parts of other systems. So we have an effective process here. And if we have the conviction and determination to keep applying it over time, we will be eliminating these categories over time. The first step is categorize. Categorize can also be thought of as labeling. And in the OCD world, this step is called labeling. One other helpful way that I have thought about it is bucketing. You can almost think of placing that thought into buckets. And these categories can be the same categories you came up with on your list earlier in the exercise we just did. Or these categories can be new ones as they come up. What we're really looking for is a convenient short label, a word, 2 words, generally. What is this thought about? Is it about a fear? Is it about relationships? Is it about what I'm going to do next? Is it about financial concerns? Is it about health concerns? Generally, just ask yourself, what is this thought about in general? What's the general category, the general bucket? What we don't want to do is spend a lot of time coming up with a very detailed, specific label for this particular thought. We're deliberately looking for something that's a little bit broader because we want to group these thoughts into a large enough category that, when we delete that category, we're getting rid of a whole stream of thoughts. What we basically want to encapsulate is the underlying driver, because how the emotional thought interaction works is that we have a stored energy knot that is influencing an emotional feeling. And then before you can think of and become conscious of the emotion, it's translated into a thought, but that thought is an approximation based off the emotion. And the thought will align and pull in kind of whatever is happening in your mental space at that time. So what you get is a whole bunch of unrelated thoughts related to what you're doing that day, that situation about work, what somebody said in your relationship with your friends, but they're pulling off of that same emotion. And what you're generally getting is a category. So this category, you could think of it as approximating that emotion, approximating that blockage, and we're trying to eliminate the tie to that blockage and sever the connection between our brain thinking that it has to respond to that blockage with thoughts. That is what we're doing here with categorization. Take a moment, let's practice. What's the next thought that you have? Let's say it's about wanting to eat spaghetti for dinner. We can categorize that, label that, or bucket that as a food thought, as simple as that. Or food craving, let's say, food craving. And we have a category. So we have, an attachment to food. There's an emotional attachment to food. We could be thinking about spaghetti. We could be thinking about a hamburger. We could be thinking about a hot dog. When I was in India, they didn't have the same kinds of food as they had in the United States. And you know what? I wasn't thinking about the kinds of food they had in the US. I wasn't thinking about hamburgers anymore. I didn't have a single thought about a hamburger. Even if I was in the US, I may have wanted that. I may have been thought of that. So certain foods I've been thinking about all the time in the US. When I was in India, I had thoughts about curries, about biryanis, about the parathas and the fried spicy foods that they have there that you might only find in central India. That's what my food craving thoughts were about. So it's generally this feeling of craving. It's translating to these thoughts that are dependent on the given situation and what's relevant right now. So your mind is somehow tricked into thinking it's important. Your mind is tricked into thinking it's important because it seems to be relevant, but it's actually coming from the same source emotion. When we categorize, we're not being constrained and confined to the specific thought and specific mental situation that your mind is corralling us to be focused on. We're stepping back and we're saying, okay, what's the bigger category? And that category is approximating the actual driver. And we will dig down into those drivers in the following steps of thought pattern dissolve.